interesting. It's like a
Just imagine for a second that in your market a Tesla Model Y would be at 35,000 euros or dollars. And then someone comes along and says, I'll offer something similar at 20,000 euros or dollars plus 100 euros or dollars battery rent per month. Well, that's exactly what this car here is doing. This is here the Onvo L60. What is Onvo and what is it about? And can they really challenge the Tesla Model Y or maybe the other competitors like an XPeng G6 or a BYD C-Line 7? We're going to find out here with an exclusive episode from China actually to give you all of the insight also of the Chinese automotive industry. Here with Thomas Nautogefühl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go. This one here, well, it has nothing to do with Hyundai N program, although the logo of the Onvo a little bit looks like it. This is, so to speak, the Tesla Model Y from NIO. NIO is in the premium direction. They are taking Audi, BMW, Mercedes on the European market already. And Onvo is more like to say they want to be like the Hyundai, Volkswagen or Tesla in that kind of region. So then also lower in the price. And they also want to launch on the European market at the later stage, especially then with this very vehicle here, because Tesla Model Y has also been that bestseller like as an EV, for example, in 2023. And the name of Onvo, it comes from on voyage or on voyage, like you're on the journey, and they are family focused actually. The length here is 4.83 meters or 190 inches, so that's exactly the Model Y length, more or less, a couple of centimeters difference. Wheels 19 or 20 inch, these here are the bigger 20-inch wheels. And they want to keep it in the lower price spec, so it does not have the LiDAR like the NIO brand is offering. So it has like the typical radar sensors and also a lot of cameras. You can also see them here sticking out there to also give you like a level 2 in a more sophisticated sense. We'll also test it later on here also on the Chinese roads. By the way, NIO will have even more brands, so like NIO on the top. They will even raise the prices rather to Porsche. Then Onvo will be like in the affordable segment. And for the very tiny vehicles, tiny EVs, they will launch the so-called Firefly brand, really to offer very small, affordable EVs. Here to the rear, we don't even have to go to this car because I have a second one for you. This one here in, somewhat Thomas Blue. In the rear you can see that it has this resemblance also to the Tesla Model Y. Here of course also for the good CD value and very slim integration of the tail lamps. In the front, by the way, the main headlamps are not offering matrix LED. That is something they do not have. And the suspension, they don't offer like an extensive adaptive suspension there, but they offer FSD, frequency selective dampening. So it's like a passive adaptive system, so you cannot change it accordingly to the drive modes, but it's already somewhat adaptive then. Battery size, you will have two different ones. You will have a 60 kWh LFP battery, it starts with that, and you can also go for 85 kWh NMC battery, and the charging times is 25 minutes or 20 minutes. So the NMC battery is charging quicker. The other one will be the entry-level battery, and of course like this LFP chemistry is a little bit better for the usual customer because you don't have to take so much care of the battery. Let's take it that way. So actually already good charging rates, but you can also use the NIO battery swap stations. They also recently launched a 4.0 version of that, where in about 4 minutes the whole battery is getting swapped. And that's also the idea of lowering the price and renting the battery, so you can have just imagine, like really here on the Chinese market, you pay 20,000 euros for the car as it stands here right now. That's crazy just if we think about the price that we, for example, would more like pay 50,000 euros for a car that stands like here. And if you leave that battery in the purchase price out, you don't have to care about residual value and so on. And you can, for example, buy the small battery. And then, for example, you want to go on holiday and you rent the bigger battery, swap it in the station and go with that one on holiday. So that's a very interesting proposal, definitely. But it's also cost intensive to build the charging infrastructure of these swapping stations, of course. Always spectacular to see. But then again, if you think about that, when the cars are charging quicker and quicker and quicker, then maybe again the battery swap will become obsolete. NIO then again says, yeah, but we maintain that battery also. We check if it's still good and so on. And then you always have like a fresh battery. And if they discover something that goes wrong with the battery, they can rule that one battery out and put a fresh one in. So it all definitely has pros and cons. You will also have difference between rear-wheel drive version, the ones we can also see here today. It's 5.9 seconds in the acceleration figure, but you will also get an all-wheel drive version that is then at 4.6 seconds in the acceleration. Turning indicators and the front. First of all, the indicators here in the front, very well visible. I think the overall styling looks pretty cool. What do you think? And also here in the rear, yeah, also very wide and visible, so that's all fine. But of course we want to know, does this one have a frunk or not? Sometimes they don't, sometimes they do. Really depends. Door handles here flush, by the way, so let's open that one and take a look. I actually haven't seen it myself yet. So some features I really leave it for the most authentic presentation, but maybe I'm also surprised. Yeah, this one does really not have a frunk. That's a surprise. I would have guessed one. Here we can just open this part here, but there's just like, you know, the access then for the fluids, for example. Yeah, so really would have guessed that. Of course, they also use the space here, but having a frunk is usually definitely a nice thing. What do you think? Here, flush door handles, all integrated. And when you would have the smartphone in your hand, they automatically come towards you. When you open the vehicle, I don't have the smartphone account yet. So when I put the keycard here at the B pillar, just right here, yeah, that's why I see it's also getting a lot of scratches already, probably because, I mean, this is like a folder, but probably people went with the card and go like, like this. Yeah, shouldn't do that. But usually you would have all integrated on the smartphone, like with the Tesla. And then we can see here, when I put it here, then the door handles here go out. There we go. And usually you just hold your hand in here also to open or close it again. Then they still, you've seen that here? So in the moment I grab in, it comes a little bit towards you. Like this, you know, like as an additional helper, and then the door closing sound. I mean, it's a frameless door, so it doesn't sound good. Nah, also not in the rear. So, yeah, I mean, it's very rare that frameless doors sound good. Some do manage it, for example, a Porsche Taycan. And what we can see here is that they use a dual lamination here in the front. And probably this will also then play a role when we drive the car outside from the noise insulation. Top body is somewhat soft already, and then here there's a leather red cover. There's the bright interior, nice galvanized window levers, also with clicking sound. This is the door opener, everything Model Y alike definitely. And here is some microfiber insert. The door pocket is quite spacious, but this is a rather hard pocket from the inside. Here, once again, bright steering in dual tone scheme. That's actually a nice idea. Some rear buttons here also to control, for example, like volume or activate the level 2 systems. No digital instruments, however, a head-up display. And that could be an example also for Tesla. I'm okay with having no instruments as long as I have a good head-up display, for example. Then the seats. Here, once again, the bright styling. There is also a black seat available. You can choose that. And here, this is all, nice, yeah, this is an additional cushion here. Stamped in logo, yeah. Then soft microfiber cushion, and this is here a high-grade leather red, super plush indeed, very good quality. They call it Caretex, that's their own brand name for that. And the seating comfort is indeed really nice. You also have a user account, which then, for example, automatically sets the seat to your height and so on. You can also like change all the settings here for the seat. The only thing I realized is that even when I put the lumbar support all the way back, it still feels like a strong lumbar support. To me, that's not ideal. If you like lumbar support area anyway, then it's a very good seat for you. But still, you know, it's very soft here and plush still, so there's a good seating comfort here. And also another example that you don't need any animal material in the vehicle here to make it appeal premium. And this is a premium appeal, and I don't see like a gap to the Neo brand, although they are selling in higher prices, but of course they're sharing technology and also materials and stuff. So yeah, there's like, of course, something that speaks for the Onvo. Here, for example, also really nice from the decor materials and so on. These store columns, a little bit Mercedes-alike, but hey, you still have store columns here, for example, for the turning indicator and also for the gear selection. Here, in this case, when I put in the gear, like another user account is being accessed. That's why it's often tricky to do it as a car tester, but when you have your own user account, it will actually be fine. And there's of course more to discover here in the cockpit, but first of all, the last thing to show from here, headroom, like with 189, 602, a lot of headroom, although from the outside the car does not appear high at all. But from the inside, I mean, you sit relatively low to the ground. It's something that we also find in the rear seats very soon. It's astonishing how flat the bottom of the vehicle is. Interior here in the front, yeah, most obviously the 17-inch screen, really large. Yeah, it looks like Tesla, definitely. They also are inspired by that, no doubt about that. 3K resolution for this screen, by the way, and you see that the resolution is really nice, so also pretty responsive. Soon more details to that. Clean atmosphere, of course, all the main functions are in the screen. You also have a voice assistant that is close to Nomi from Neo, but you can give it like an individual name, and it doesn't have like this Nomi meme round ball eye stuff, so drawn back. I like that actually. Good materials also in here in the dashboard. You can also hear that here once again with this wooden-like atmosphere. No, nothing you can open here. This is all the way closed actually. And here for the passenger seat, you even have this comfort feature that you can just relax here and make it like a sleeping position, for example. Especially with these additional pillows, you can even extend that further. So yeah, once again, really good luxury features here in the front. I mean, using the bright materials here may not look that good over a while. Yeah, this car needs to be cleaned probably. I think you can get that one. You can easily clean, like the red materials. But these materials, they darken out over a while. And I see an inductive charging pin, and what you cannot see, like back there, are also some ventilation holes. And maybe we can get. Not sure if you can hear it on camera, but I can hear the fan running there. Interesting. Then here, there's also adaptive cup holders, also good build quality, and then split armrest with a lot of space underneath for all the clutter you want to hide. 2 USB-C chargers in there.
18 bottles fitted.
18 bottles of water, like small bottles of water. Yeah, that's astonishing, definitely. And yeah, the classic setups here, like with the screen that you control the climate unit here. And I mean, one thing I also don't like in the Tesla, for example, that you have to set up also the steering wheel, like here in the system, and not with separate column here or something. Then again, people say, yeah, I have it in my user account and it's automatically set to my size. I know, maybe I'm a little bit too old school there. This is the steering wheel, driver POV, really light steering wheel. Here, these are real buttons then, for example, to click it for the level 2 assistant. This is then here the volume up and down, for example. And then once again, these Mercedes-alike stock columns right there. These red lights, infrared, you don't see them with your own eye. And there's the head-up display, which is kind of extensive. Here at the moment, hard to see. But it's very well visible, and also for guidance and so on. And here, this infotainment system is really impressive. Look at that, how like smooth and precise and super quick it is. That is impressive. Climate unit here in the lower part, I'm a fan of physical dials rather. Here at the moment, everything is just in Chinese. There's no English version available yet. Of course, this is all done to come. But you
looks
see,
like Tesla.
Funny thing here, by the way, as well. The software backend, like the software version this car is on, is called Coconut. It's the coconut nut, it's the coconut. The coconut is a delicious nut, yes, but also obviously a good software system. So this is their new backend. And what are they also doing is taking the experience they have with the Neo brand. And I think the most interesting thing is that they told me that when you, for example, talk to the voice assistant, that in the Neo case was with Nomi, my dear friend, that they get this feedback also. So you, for example, talk with the voice assistant and ask like, hey, wouldn't it be cool to access the seat heating in the first level of the infotainment system, which is, for example, possible here, but maybe wasn't possible before. And they said that in 3 seconds, this suggestion from the customer lands on a desk somewhere from someone who is working at Neo. And this actually enables them to do so many software updates and also improve their service overall. This is a very interesting aspect. And Leah can also show you the panoramic roof that is tinted actually, so it's a little bit darkened out. We have to see about it on a really, really hot summer day, of course. Are there any handles from the inside, by the way, that you can hold on tight?
Here's the speaker, yeah.
Additional speaker there, but Leah cannot hold on tight when I drive a little bit quicker, so we have to see about that. Standard sun visor, there, that's right, but you cannot extend it or something. No, but it's overall.
But the quality is very good, yeah.
Quality check there, okay. Rear seating, this is very interesting. First of all, here I put down the window. Here we do not have dual lamination in the rear, but let's see how calm it will be while driving. Then here this is, let's say, not super soft, but also not hard here, but then there's a nice elaborate covering here and also here. Nice here also with the galvanized buttons here, for example. And here we even have an electric control of the back part here of the seat for the inclination. And you have to remember again, yeah, as I said initially, a Chinese customer pays 20,000 euros, like in yuan, for this vehicle. And yeah, and then also again, if you think about like the price of the competitors, this is crazy. Here in the lower part, this is then rather hard. This, by the way, here the mechanical unlock of the door, if it doesn't open here in the electric way. And then we have these additional cushions here for the lower area. You can use it, don't have to. Isofix is hidden behind that, and also these additional microfiber cushions with the Hyundai N logo. No, it's not the Hyundai N, it's the Onvo logo, of course. They don't like me hearing that, saying that. Yeah, but here, then I have adaptive cup holders, also good build quality, and let's see about the seating comfort here. Yeah, I mean this part in the lower part, you can easily not go without. I think it depends also on your body. You remember that the Mercedes EQS facelift, they put this one like an extra to upgrade the seating experience and the seating comfort here. Well, it's astonishing. First of all, yeah, it's really comfortable here, very airy, spacious. Look at that, the headroom with 189, 6'2", and you maybe see that I mean, I'm falling backwards quite a lot. Let's see, this is the most backward position. I could also put it more upright like this, but even that way, the rear bench is relatively low also for an electric vehicle.
And the legroom, wow.
Yeah, and legroom, there's a lot of legroom, even though as I'm driving here in the front. So this is also like the special focus of this vehicle, because maybe you know that the German manufacturers offer their vehicles always as long version. C-Class is C-Class L here. E-Class is E-Class L, long version of that. An Audi A5L, like the A5 is offered with more wheelbase. Even an Audi Q2L, they always put longer wheelbase because the Chinese families spend, for example, the weekend then together in the vehicle, and they want more luxury comfort in the rear, more legroom and so on. This is a very big focus, and here the families are supposed to have space here also in the rear, and that is working very, very well, definitely. And also using that flat bottom. Yeah, I mean, this is very cozy space, and also the build quality and everything. We also have a screen here for the rear, where you have, for example, also here the control.
Chinese, yeah.
Yeah, but here also, for example, I can control the front seat from this screen like this. Yeah, climate unit and so on. So yeah, it's very luxurious in the rear. USB-C charger. Then here is another space, and also like here all the, you know, like stuff here is opening or closing. And yeah, you can very well imagine why the European manufacturers have a lot of problems on this market when this build quality here is offered for like maybe like a half or a third of the price than the European manufacturers. So that actually explains what's been happening, that especially in the EV segment, like the foreign manufacturers here in China can hardly sell anything anymore. Very important, of course, to take a look at the trunk or the boot. Electric hatch here, of course. Well, we have this somewhat coupe-like form. That's why I also have the good CD value. Then you lose a little bit of height here. Still very well usable. 1.10 m or 44 inches in the width. And here the normal length is about 1.05 m or 41 inches, and the height at the highest part, this one here is 76 centimeters or 26 inches. Like with the Tesla Model Y, you have a lot of space underneath actually. So here, when you lift up this one, a lot of space here, very big hole underneath. So that's actually cool. And to fold, yeah, you can also remove that one. That will also be possible. So here to grab over like this. It's also possible so you don't have to go around, at least when you have long arms. And then let's check out the total length then here of the trunk or the boot. And that is then here at 1 meters 90 or 75 inches, so overall well usable, definitely. Ni hao, best greetings to all our Chinese speaking viewers, and I'm actually here in China for you today in the Guangzhou area. Yesterday I was in the Shanghai area, and this is Fonzi or Alfonso, at least like this his Western name, and he is actually responsible to upload all the stuff for you on our Chinese speaking YouTube channel, but also on Dongshidi, Douyin, Auto Home. Really great to actually like meet all the people here and see the expectations on the Chinese car market. And yeah, maybe you introduce yourself that the viewers also know like who you are and what you're doing actually.
Welcome to follow us in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go!
Let's start driving the Onvo L60. Let's see if it's a worthy competitor to the Tesla Model Y. And we put it here to the Chinese traffic where I actually made a Chinese driver's license that I'm actually legally allowed to drive here. So yeah, all the effort then to give you the most authentic experience here. And we have another Onvo L60 here in front of it, like the blue one you see there on the left side. And we'll do both, like the driving ourselves and also the being driven with the level 2 systems, so that we can also give you these experiences. Yeah, and you see already the craziness of Chinese traffic, which also probably explains why the manufacturers are not pushing to like the fully autonomous solution that you can take away the responsibility from the driver. So even though these autonomous systems here, they are working very well already, you're still responsible at the end of the day. Yeah, because there's too much crazy stuff happening, definitely. We're driving here the small battery version, LFP battery, with the rear-wheel drive. So we have like 5.9 seconds in the acceleration figure. For most situations, this will be more than enough. And yeah, if everyone holds tight and puts, we can even put a sport mode here, so then it gets a little more boost. You can do like 30 to 60 here. Plop, that's already it. That was 30 to 60 and yeah, quite powerful. Usually it's all the power you need. You can of course also go for the all-wheel drive version if you want more performance, maybe like German Autobahn or something. Going back to the normal mode here, and it doesn't matter anything, it doesn't change anything for the suspension, because they are the frequency selective dampers here. That means it's a passive adaptive dampening, so it doesn't change according to the driving mode. But still you have more span between sportiness and comfort. And so far the road is quite well. I'm looking forward also to how it behaves when the road is a little bit more destroyed. What I already realized right now, because like so many cars around us, trucks and everything, it's kilometers an hour here by the way, just to mention that. It's really silent, so the noise level here is very low. So far, we have to see then later on how it behaves when we can maybe drive a little bit quicker and so on. But this is also a typical situation here for the Chinese car market, that you roll a little bit with the traffic and so on, and most of the time going straight. The steering is also set on a more comfortable note, let's take it that way, so it doesn't have like much feeling to it. It's more that you just easily cruise with that, you know, so it doesn't have like the sporty direct feedback you would know maybe from some German cars. If we do some changing here back to the lanes, yeah, suspension wise it behaves actually quite well. That's nice. There's the other blue Onvo in front of us. You also see this coupe like shape, and that it also reminds us of the Tesla Model Y. Oh, there's also some Chinese paparazzi in front of us taking some pictures of us. Yeah, so suspension gives you a very good feeling, and also when we have some small transverse bumps here, evens them out quite well. Although we have the 20-inch wheels mounted here, you could also go with 19-inch wheels if you want some more comfort. Yeah, the steering feel itself, it does remind us also, like we've recently tested the BYD C-Line 7 or the Xpeng G6. So they don't pay too much attention to the steering feel. That would maybe be like another task they could attack. After all, it's nowadays all software tuning, and you can also fine tune that. Let's just check for a moment if they put in the sport mode a little bit more feedback here. Here's sport mode, and then I switch back. Yeah. So here it's a little bit lighter, a little bit more feedback in the sport mode, but it doesn't change like the let's say, slightly artificial gaming character of the steering wheel. So you don't need much force. Leah actually likes that, you know. So I always expect more like, you know, I need to turn the steering wheel and maybe like even feel the road, how the tires are set on the road. Leah rather prefers it that way, that she can like ease it around, you know, like this and park it in and out very easily. So yeah, so that's maybe also then a matter of preference. Really, the most notable thing here is that it's really silent and it feels premium from the atmosphere here. Yesterday I've been driving the Neo ES6. It's also like EL6 in Europe. This is by the way interesting. You see like the flashing in the top. This is like, not everyone's like exceeding the speed limit. They're just taking photos, let's say like in advance, just to have the photos. Like, yeah, okay.
And for traffic.
Traffic control and everything. So for me, I always get like this strange gut feeling when I have the flashing light, because in Germany it would mean that you get a fine. You know, that's yeah, you have to get used to it, and then it's like, okay, yeah, someone's flashing, someone's taking a photo, and we just wave back basically. So here, very good behavior, very calm in the traffic light. The ES6 or the EL6 is feels larger, more like upright SUV. This one here rather feels like Xpeng G6 or also like the Tesla Model Y. It feels a little bit more crossover-alike, not that very high SUV, so it's more planted to the ground. So suspension and chassis-wise,
It's better than the Tesla.
you think?
Yeah,
So? Interesting. That I mean, I have to say that Leah really likes Tesla because she likes like the clean and the atmosphere and so on. And I didn't even ask her for that. So that might be a problem for the Tesla Model Y if Leah says she prefers that. Here, by the way, blind spot monitor is very interesting. Shows me the camera image here in the screen, and you also hear that maybe, so it's really close, have to pay attention. And they also give the vibration in the steering wheel. It's also an interesting approach.
Seat. Feel too the vibration?
The vibration in the seat?
Maybe
Interesting.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. You feel it?
Yeah, actually, that's interesting. It's maybe also on,
That's a nice idea,
that's
yeah.
interesting. Yeah, I mean, for me, the vibration in the steering wheel is more notable for the driver. So yeah, I mean, blind spot monitoring is so important because so many accidents just happen exactly for that. Now, what I also want to test here is level 2 plus autonomous driving system. I've activated, and what you see now, well, by law here in China, I have to keep my hands on the steering wheel. That's still mandatory. But now the car is doing everything, and I intentionally activated that here before. That's interesting. Scooter driving there. So I activated that intentionally before the corner because I went, yeah, now the car is irritated by the scooter driver right next to us. So you can see, like, you have some situations where like, wow, this is like done in a flawless way. Then you have other situations where you say like, yeah, this is now interesting. Okay, like bicycle ghost rider. Yeah. Ooh, I mean, sometimes you think, you have to, you know, still be careful. And I'm looking out for these situations definitely. But astonishing, you know. So it is from the capability. It's the same like Neo does, because it's like the same corporation. And the capability is basically level 4 autonomous driving. It can do everything, but since you're still responsible yourself, it's officially still called level 2, because with level 3, it's already that the car takes over the responsibility. The only car that does that at the moment is the Mercedes S-Class, up to a speed of 95. And it's like changing the lane now automatically.
Yeah, because of the navigation.
Yeah. As I have a route set, it's also.
Oh, now it's getting.
That is a tricky traffic situation. Now it's. I didn't like that. I didn't want to, like, block our second Onvo vehicle there, with the Chinese paparazzi in there. Yeah. So they can probably take like some nice car-to-car shots there. So I mean, you see, you can, like in most situations, trust the vehicle. Do they want to take? Yeah. Okay. Now I activated again the semi-autonomous drive. You know, it depends probably. Like the more you use it, the more you trust in that. And they also collect the cloud data, and it's also something what I mentioned earlier, that they of course use that cloud data again, and also the feedback they get from users to improve these systems. Like a similar thing that Tesla of course is also doing to, like, if you have more data, you can also improve these systems. And what's also interesting, I've been testing the same system in the ES6 yesterday, or EL6, and this, like the Neo, is always using a LiDAR as well. This one does not have a LiDAR for budget reasons, that Onvo is placed like below Neo and they can sell it at a lower price. But I honestly don't feel the biggest difference. A LiDAR will of course add a layer of safety. You know, for most situations it will not be necessary, especially you know, it always depends on the road condition, weather and so on. It's always better also to have a LiDAR, yes, but here most things can be done without. You know that the Tesla idea is doing everything with cameras, also for budget reasons, but also because Elon Musk says that's the way we do it, just on a lot of cloud data and so on. I'm more a fan of different sensors, that you also have some redundancy in the system, basically. But here now, really smooth on the motorway, and I'm still just holding on to the steering wheel, which is, by the way, nicely done, you know, like also from the size, from the material, you know, all animal-free materials here. It's comfortable from the seating position and so on. So it's all really nicely done. And I think the overall package, you can say, yeah, I mean, the Xpeng G6 is, from the drive feeling, I feel at least, the one that comes closest to it. Also from like how high the car is, the whole chassis concept and so on. The Model Y, which we see here, also popular, of course, very popular here in China. The Model Y, so now they want to catch up again here for the shooting here. So the Model Y, I feel, sorry guys, it's the car that, you know, the car is driving us so at the moment. So the Model Y, I feel, is definitely stiffer from suspension, more bumpy. That must be some camouflage car, like, or is it maybe a custom paint? Maybe prototype, yeah, it was a prototype vehicle. Okay, but now there's 30 here and the car is not realizing that. So maybe I just reduce it myself. Yeah, so obviously the car did not read the traffic sign. So I'm gonna do that myself here now. I don't want to lose my freshly made Chinese driver's license, obviously. So you see, there are some limits still to it, but it's still impressive what the system can already do. And that's probably the direction we're going into, you know, like more, now that's 60 again, more towards the autonomous driving capabilities, and that you can more relax on the road and so on. Yeah, but still there are some situations where you have to take over yourself and then be more aware of that. But I think the main takeaway here from the driving is that it's really calm, it's comfortable, suspension is doing a good job, better actually than in the Model Y. And of course, we always have rather low speeds here, so the consumption data will probably be better and more in favor of the vehicle. And we can keep you updated later on what we scored as for the consumption and for today. Now we're also testing the rear comfort while driving. I think comfort-wise it's pretty good.
It's
And
really good,
yeah, we love a lot of space. But what we also do here, we are on a Chinese motorway now at like 110 kilometers an hour, so like 65 miles an hour. And noise insulation-wise, at least here in the rear, it's not that good. So you feel that in the rear they don't have the dual insulation. So yeah, so as soon as you go to higher speeds, it's not that silent, I have to say. And also consumption-wise, that's also very interesting. We are here now about like 16, 17 kilowatt hours on 100 kilometers. So it's less than 4 miles per kilowatt hour. That would mean for the small battery some 400 kilometers or 250 miles of range. And for the big battery some 500 kilometers plus 300 miles plus of real world range. So overall decent, definitely also in the Model Y regions. However, it could very well be, we need to do some more thorough testing. Seems that the Model Y is still a little bit more efficient at higher speeds, but that's the thing that usually more efficient, the Teslas at higher speeds than most of than all of the other EV brands. Yeah, but definitely good space here. But noise insulation is definitely great in the city, but not that good here in the higher speeds on the Chinese motorway. Let's see how it looks like here. Yeah, there's not that much crazy traffic as we recently had in the city. It's definitely been a wild ride here with the Onvo L60 here today, and over the past days I also gathered a lot of insight into the Chinese automotive industry and also what the manufacturers from the US and from Europe, especially the Germans, can actually do better to perform better on the Chinese market. but also maybe what doesn't make sense, and also what we can expect from the Chinese manufacturers. If you like to have more insight in that respect, I can maybe do a separate episode on that. As for the Onvo S60, in driving-wise, it works very well. So especially the suspension is actually pretty comfortable. So it is a very viable competitor to the Tesla Model Y. The same also goes for the XPeng G6 or also for the BYD C-Line 7. Here, of course, a special focus that you have a lot of rear leg room. For example, this is a very important aspect then, especially for Chinese families. That's why they are focusing that here so much actually. And the only thing I was, looking more forward to, that maybe the autonomous driving functions were working better. It worked better in the Neo ES6 or EL6. I was driving that one yesterday, so we have to see how they develop that further. It's really the thing with these level 2 plus systems. Sometimes you have situations like, wow, this is working perfectly. Like, how can the car do that actually? And then again, you have situations where they think, the human brain is working better in that respect. So for example, here in our English driving part, it worked quite well. Later then we did a German driving part for our German channel. There we had some situations which were like really dangerous actually. So, ich muss noch halt eigentlich die Hände am Lenkrad halten. Was macht er jetzt? Ja, hier zum Beispiel, ne? It was like a sudden braking when we were turning right, and then people behind us were horning and so on. So we have to enjoy these level 2 plus systems still with caution. That's why, they are not like working all the time, and you still have to pay attention. And it's very interesting that all the different manufacturers have different approaches to what they are actually doing in semi or fully autonomous driving. But definitely, if you wrap that everything up, especially if they offer it like also at very decent prices also at the European market, it can very well be a very fierce competitor. And you actually realize that here on the Chinese market, where especially all the EVs and their own brands are sold at way, way lower prices than the foreign competition, they don't need our cars anymore. That's the thing. And they can really also compete in hardware, like from the build quality and so on. And of course, the second question is, do we need or want their cars? Well, definitely what the case is that hardware-wise and everything, they can easily catch up. Meanwhile, battery technology, they're often already leading. That's why the American and the German manufacturers, European manufacturers already buy so many batteries that are produced in China. So it's also another reason, like the profits are going away in or on the Chinese market, because here, like when we look at these prices, why would you actually pay like 4, 5, 6 times the price for a German EV? That is exactly the reason you can see here why the Germans are not selling EVs here in China. So this will be super interesting what's to come here, not only on the Chinese car market, but also the influence it's already having on the global car market. And we'll keep you updated with that. And if you like, I can also do more industry inside episodes. So maybe check that out, or directly the competitors.